You're a high-achieving woman who has it all together, or so everyone thinks. You have a thriving career, a happy family, and an active social life. But behind closed doors, you're struggling with burnout. You feel like a fraud, a failure, and a bad mother. Your confidence is waning, and your mental health is deteriorating. You're tired of pretending to be fine when you're really not. You're at a breaking point, and you don't even know it yet. Welcome back to our channel where we bring you the latest in psychology, neuroscience, and mental health. Today we will be discussing the hidden emotional toll of burnout on women. So if you think that you might be experiencing burnout, keep watching to find out more. Number 1. The emotional roller coaster. Burnout is a psychological syndrome emerging as a prolonged response to chronic interpersonal stressors on the job. Simply put, it's the feeling of being emotionally drained, disillusioned, and exhausted from work-related stress. For women, the emotional toll of burnout can be particularly heavy as they often face unique challenges and expectations in their personal and professional lives. Women are more likely than men to take on the role of primary caregiver for children and aging parents, which can add to their stress levels. Additionally, women often face gender-based discrimination and bias in the workplace, which can contribute to feelings of isolation, resentment, and frustration. These factors can make it difficult for women to find the support they need to manage their stress, leading to higher rates of burnout. Furthermore, societal expectations for women to maintain a positive and nurturing demeanor can make it challenging for them to speak up about their struggles with burnout, fearing that doing so would be perceived as a sign of weakness or a lack of commitment. This can result in a vicious cycle where the emotional toll of burnout goes unrecognized and unaddressed, leading to further deterioration of their mental health and well-being. Number 2. The imposter phenomenon. Do you often feel like a fraud or an imposter in your own life? You've worked hard to achieve success, but you're plagued by the fear that you're not good enough or that you do not deserve your accomplishments. You may feel like a high achiever, but you're constantly worried about being exposed as a fake. You compare yourself to others and feel like you're falling short. Despite your outward appearance of success, you're struggling with feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. This is known as the imposter phenomenon, and it's more common in women than you might think. According to a study by Dr. Valerie Young, an expert on the imposter phenomenon, women are more likely than men to experience feelings of being an imposter, especially when they work in male-dominated fields. They may feel like they have to prove themselves over and over again just to be accepted. The fear of being seen as a fraud can lead to decreased self-confidence and increased anxiety, which can contribute to burnout. Number 3. Decreased self-confidence. Burnout can take a toll on anyone, but for women, the consequences can be particularly damaging. One of the many ways that burnout affects women is through a decrease in self-confidence. When you're burnt out, you may start to doubt your abilities and question whether you're making a difference. You may feel like you're not accomplishing enough or that you're not being valued for your contributions. These negative thoughts can chip away at your confidence and make it difficult to believe in yourself and your abilities. In fact, a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that women are more likely than men to experience self-confidence decreases as a result of negative feedback. This is known as the double bind for women. When they encounter setbacks, they often blame themselves and internalize the negative feedback, which can lead to decreased self-confidence and self-worth. And number 4, deteriorating mental health. Burnout can have a significant impact on mental health, leading to symptoms such as increased anxiety, depression, insomnia, and difficulty concentrating. Women are particularly vulnerable to these effects as they are more likely to experience mental health issues than men. A study published in the Journal of Women's Health found that women who experienced burnout were more likely to suffer from anxiety and depression than those who did not. Additionally, women are less likely to seek help for mental health problems due to stigma and a lack of access to mental health services. This can lead to a vicious cycle where untreated mental health issues contribute to burnout, which in turn worsens mental health. To prioritize your mental health, it's essential to take steps to manage stress and build resilience. If you found this video helpful, please let us know in the comments below. We hope that it has given you some insight into the hidden emotional toll of burnout on women. It's important to remember that you're not alone and that there is support available. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's essential to living a full and meaningful life. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Part 2. You know, if you're burned out, you're tired all the time, right? But here's what's really happening behind the scenes with your hormones, your sleep, and your energy. Burnout happens when there is a mismatch between our lifestyle and our biology. So, for example, most people have an innate biological rhythm that is roughly around 24 hours. We call this our circadian rhythm. And this rhythm is controlled by a little internal clock in our brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. The SCN, as we call it, controls many of the body's rhythms, including when we sleep, when we wake up, when we're hungry, and even our body temperature. When we were hunter-gatherers, our days started with the sun, and we would sleep when the sun went down. But modern life has a way of disrupting this rhythm. For example, when we travel across time zones, our body clock has to adjust to a new 24-hour day. But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes about a week for our internal clock to match the external one. And this is why people who fly backwards a few time zones often end up feeling sleepy at 9 p.m. when it's 6 p.m. where they are. And they also find it hard to wake up in the morning because their bodies think it's nighttime. But it's not just jet lag that messes with our rhythms. Artificial light at night from things like street lights and computer screens can trick our brains into thinking it's daytime, which makes it harder to sleep. Shift work and irregular work hours can also disrupt our rhythms, as can stress and certain medications. So when our rhythms are out of sync, it creates a cascade of problems. For example, when we're burned out, we often have low levels of cortisol in the morning, which is the hormone that helps us wake up and feel alert, and high levels of cortisol at night, which makes it harder to sleep. Low cortisol in the morning can make us feel less motivated and more tired, which can lead to poor performance at work or school, and high cortisol at night can make us feel anxious and overstimulated, which can keep us up at night. Another hormone that gets thrown off balance during burnout is testosterone. When we're stressed, our bodies produce more cortisol, which can lower testosterone levels. This can lead to symptoms like fatigue, muscle loss, and decreased libido. Then there's insulin, the hormone that regulates our blood sugar levels. When we're burned out, we often have higher than normal levels of insulin in our bodies, which can lead to cravings for sugary foods and drinks. And when we eat those foods, our blood sugar levels spike and then crash, which can make us feel even more tired and sluggish. And finally, there's the neurotransmitter dopamine, which is involved in our body's reward system. When we're burned out, our dopamine levels are often lower, which can make it hard to find pleasure in things that we used to enjoy. So what does this mean for you? Well, it means that burnout doesn't just make us feel tired, it affects our entire endocrine system, which is a fancy way of saying that it affects all of our hormones. This can lead to a whole host of physical and emotional problems, which is why it's so important to take steps to prevent burnout. Now, I want to share with you 3 powerful tips to help you recover from burnout. And the last one is something you probably don't want to hear. Tip number 1 is get more sleep. Easier said than done, right? But it's important to try to get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. I know that's easier said than done, but try to make it a priority. Go to bed earlier, turn off your phone and any other distractions, and try to relax before bedtime. Tip number 2 is eat healthier. Try to eat a balanced diet full of fruits, vegetables, lean protein, and whole grains, and avoid processed foods and sugary drinks. And the third tip is exercise regularly. Exercise can help improve your sleep, reduce stress, and increase energy levels. Aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise most days of the week. The big question is, are you going to take steps to prevent burnout, or are you just going to burn out and hope for the best? The truth is, you can't outrun burnout forever. At some point, it will catch up with you. So please take care of yourself and do something nice for you today. You deserve it.
Part 3. You won't believe why women over 30 are more likely to burn out. It's not what you think. I spent 8 years in corporate HR, and I've never seen so many women over 30 struggling with burnout, leaving the workforce, or getting fired for being too emotional. And then it hit me. I'm also a woman over 30. I experience all of these symptoms. I was getting burnt out. But there's one thing that no one is talking about. After 30, women have a biological clock that starts ticking. And when you add stress on top of it, it accelerates the ticking. When I talk about the biological clock, I'm not talking about the fertility window. I'm talking about the body's natural rhythm that regulates sleep, metabolism, hormones, and energy levels. And when you disrupt this rhythm through stress, it creates an imbalance that leads to burnout. So, if you're a woman over 30, make sure to prioritize your well-being because you deserve to live a life that you're proud of. Don't forget that
Emotional exhaustion is something that many people experience at some point in their lives. It's that feeling of being emotionally drained, physically tired, and having no motivation or energy to do anything. Burnout can be caused by a variety of factors, such as prolonged exposure to stress, a lack of support, and an imbalance between work and personal life. But the good news is that there are some practical steps that you can take to help heal and prevent emotional exhaustion so that you can feel more balanced and energized in your daily life. Set boundaries and learn to say no. One of the most important things that you can do to prevent burnout is to set healthy boundaries and learn to say no when you're feeling overwhelmed. This may be difficult at first, but it's important to make time for yourself and your own needs in order to avoid getting burnt out. It's okay to turn down invitations or to take a break from social media if it's becoming too much for you. Setting boundaries will help you to avoid taking on too much responsibility and will give you the space that you need to recharge. Take breaks and vacations. Another important thing that you can do is to take regular breaks and vacations. This doesn't have to be expensive or time-consuming. Even just taking a few minutes each day to relax and recharge can make a big difference. Taking vacations can also help you to get perspective and to come back to your work feeling refreshed and motivated. When you come back from a vacation, you'll be able to approach your work with a new energy and be more productive. Practice self-care. It's important to make time for self-care even when you're busy. Self-care can look different for everyone, but some examples include taking a hot bath, reading a book, or spending time in nature. Taking the time to do things that you enjoy will help you to relax and de-stress, which can help to prevent burnout. You may feel guilty at first, but remember that taking care of yourself is essential in order to be able to take care of others. You can't pour from an empty cup. Connect with others. Strong social connections are an important buffer against emotional exhaustion. Nurturing relationships with friends, family, and romantic partners can provide you with the support that you need to get through tough times. Connecting with others can also help you to gain a new perspective and to feel less isolated. So make an effort to stay connected with the people who are important to you, even when you're busy. Get professional help. If you're struggling to cope with emotional exhaustion, don't hesitate to seek professional help. A therapist can provide you with tools and strategies to manage your stress and exhaustion and can also help you to explore the underlying causes of your burnout. Therapy can be a safe and confidential space to vent your frustrations and develop healthy coping mechanisms. Don't wait until things get worse. Reach out for help today. Remember that healing from emotional exhaustion takes time. Be patient with yourself and celebrate small victories along the way. You may not be able to change your circumstances immediately, but you can change the way you respond to them. By following these tips, you can take proactive steps to heal and prevent emotional exhaustion so that you can live a happier, healthier life. If you found this advice helpful, please like and share it with others who may benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe for more helpful content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.